Today's topics are repairing refrigerant leaks and high pressure sales. So what you're looking at is you're looking at the old unit, and I basically come over here and hook my gauge set up to it, and you'll see that the system has a very low holding charge. Uh, And you'll probably say that what I'm doing here, I'm actually kind of cheating by fixing refrigerant leaks this way, but sometimes it's what the customer wants. They weigh all their options as I lay them out, and they decide they want far the less risk of you can see about 57 psi holding charge. So very low. It's been leaking for some time. This is a picture of the coil, and this is after I had removed it, obviously, for this job. Basically, just doing an overview, because this job was just a spur of the moment job. Sometimes that's what I get. People will see an advertisement or something associated with my company, and they've had dealings with other companies that have dropped the ball, and so they call me to get the work done, and because they just don't want to have a bunch of problems. And as you'll notice right here, this is after the job was done.
Yeah, it's definitely leaking right there. You can see the oil all over it. It's leaking right there. Yeah.
And you'll see that later on in the video. I'm just pointing out various spots that are very probable for leaks, with that oil covered spot right there is most likely the prominent leak. Because oil, there's no reason oil should be on that spot.
That's a primary leak right there.
Okay, so what you're looking at here is the original equipment, manufacturer's ream, obviously. This is the original coil that was installed by the builder. The house is probably right around 2007, 2008 time period. And obviously, we're dealing with R22 Freon is the refrigerant, which is really the primary reason why I believe the homeowner decided to replace the equipment as opposed to trying to just fix a portion of it. Obviously, right here we've started to disconnect the ductwork, and we've got the line set disconnected. You can see the coil, it's got a very tight access right here, and so we're kind of limited, and so that's another reason why I took shots after I removed the coil out, just to give you visual representation. This is a picture of the heat exchanger. You can notice some really strong wear toward the right hand side as it comes out of that little distribution box. You can see that darkish gray. It's typically normal for about a 10-year-old furnace. This is a coil. You can see that down toward the bottom of the coil, the piping on there is darker, and so that's typically an indication of oil leakage, because the pipe looks stained if you look really close. And you'll notice here that I flip it around and I point to a spot on the coil that I deem as a highly likely suspicious part as to where it leaks, and as I noted earlier in the video, it turns out to be a primary leak. You'll see here, I point to it here in a minute. because I sit there and I study the coil and I look for the most probable spot where it's probably leaking at. You know there's a leak somewhere because the holding charge was very, very low. Here I am again showing the removal of the outdoor unit. And it's kind of a hard way to get it out because of this rock garden they got going on. That's the new unit set. And by this time it's already installed. It wasn't running during this time, but here it is running in the attic. This is the new coil installed, all the piping hooked back up, ductwork hooked back up. You see a 55-degree temperature drop. It was a 75-degree indoor temp, so it had right at 20 degrees temperature drop across the coil, which is always a good figure to have. So the install turned out really well. It's really pretty typical. I mean, I do this quite often, and so really nothing out of the ordinary with this install. Obviously, I could have fixed this another way. I could have just repaired the coil only. That's always an option, but given the R22 problem, if the system ever springs another leak, then it's always got that R22 stigma attached to it, because R22 is being phased out and the price is only going to go up. And so the customer didn't want to replace the whole system because they don't intend to stay at this property maybe another 5 years, maybe a little bit longer than that. So they just wanted to replace the air conditioner. They were tired of having problems with it, and so that's basically it.
Slick little unit.
This is the old R22 condenser that I pulled out of that job. And basically I take this a step further to show you that not every unit is the same. This unit was built around a time where the efficiencies were going up, but manufacturers were still allowed to use R22, and so what they did was they double stacked the coil. The condenser coil on this is double thickness, and so the total charge on this unit was probably somewhere around 17 to 18 pounds of refrigerant. So, prior to this time span, refrigerant charges were quite a bit less. You could have anywhere from 6 to 8 pounds, maybe 10 pounds. So, and that's another part that goes into deciding whether it's worth keeping the equipment or not.
So that brings us to another topic that I want to talk about is high pressure sales. High pressure sales are basically designed to get you to spend the most money possible. Well, and basically in a situation such as what showed earlier in this video, someone could come out and try to sell the whole system. Naturally, that leads to a higher cost because you're replacing more of an aging system. And the thing is that this equipment was installed when the house was built, and so pretty much everything is out of warranty because builder systems typically only come with a 5-year part warranty on them. And so and obviously there's maybe a few parts that may still be under warranty, but usually everything is out of warranty at that 5-year point unless the unit was properly registered. And so it's not saying that there's anything wrong in trying to sell a complete system, but why replace, in this video, the oldest part of the system now is the furnace. So, why replace a 10-year-old furnace when more often than not they could last 20 years or longer, especially in my climate where we typically don't have much of a winter. Some years no winter at all, maybe a few days to a week you're running that furnace and that's it. So, it's half one dozen another. The other thing is that the way that I view this high pressure sales, and this is personal opinion, I feel that if you're old enough to own a home, you're old enough to make a decision as to what you want to do. Once you're presented all the facts and everything involved and what, and what could potentially happen, obviously, there's certain things within a system that there's really no guarantee that one option is going to last, or because you always have a future, and things happen. So you got to take it into context for what it is. The advantage with using someone like me is that I've got the repair mentality, to where in the event something goes wrong, you're dealing with one person. You're not dealing with a myriad of people that are going to come in with opposing opinions, which means I've only got one opinion, mine, because I'm a one-man company. And so I don't have all these opposing opinions where if you talk to one tech is recommending one thing, another tech may be recommending something completely different because their experience is different. And so that's part of it that goes into it, and so, when I come out to your home, I'm going to assess everything, and I'm going to give you my opinion. It's what I do. There's no wrong decision. It's just complicated with potential problems or breakdowns later on. So, if this homeowner, shown in this video, wanted to just replace the coil to fix the refrigerant leak, I offered that solution. They chose not to because R22 Freon is being phased out, and right now the only way forward is this refrigerant is gonna go up in cost. Efficiency is another concern too, but this homeowner doesn't plan to keep the home for much more than maybe 5, 6, 7 years. So that's always a discussion. Is how long do you plan to stay in the home? You don't plan to stay there for very long, it may not make sense to replace the whole system. And as far as efficiency goes, the only way to get the most efficient system would be to replace the entire system. And then you open up a whole nother can of worms, because then there's even that many more decisions that you're going to have to make. It's not saying it's right or wrong, it just really depends on what your goals are. But if I come out to your home, I'm going to outlay everything, and then the decision is yours to make. I'm not going to hound you and try to twist your arm behind your back. My motivation is completely different. My motivation is to fix your problem, and if you get new problems, my motivation is to come out there and fix those too. Many of my customers are on a first name basis with me. So if that's the kind of relationship that you're looking for in your HVAC comfort provider, then maybe I'm the one who fits that bill. My name is Ray Austin with Austin Air Company. I service the Katy, Texas, Cypress, Texas, and Richmond, Texas areas, some surrounding areas. If you have a need for air conditioning repair, or maybe you're looking to replace your system or repair part of it, you can give me a call at 832-475-6895. Or, for more information, you can always visit me on my main website at www.austinairco.com. For Austin Air Company, my name's Ray Austin. I hope your day is comfortable. Thank you.
Excuse me, sir, the AC is blowing hot.